ॐ श्री मात्रे नमः। 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 ॐ श्री मात्रे नमः।
वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। ॐ गं गणपतये नमः। ॐ गं गणपतये नमः। ॐ गं गणपतये नमः। ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्।
रक्ताभां त्रिनेत्रा अरुणिमावसना रत्नताटङ्करम्या हस्ताम्भोजैः सपाशाङ्कुश मदनधनुस्सायकैः विस्फुरन्ती आपीनो तुङ्गवक्षोरुह कलशलुटत्तारहारोज्ज्वलाङ्गी ध्यायेत् अम्बोरुहस्ता अरुणिमवसना ईश्वरी ईश्वराणाम् ईश्वरी ईश्वराणाम्। Namaste. Welcome to Kaivalya Yoga Gurukulam or KYG. Thank you as always for joining the satsang and gracing this with your divine presence. We are in the last couple of classes as far as the learning of this wonderful, magnificent drawing called the Sri Chakra. In today's class, I shall touch upon a few of the energies that we haven't covered so far. Not that they were less important, but in the course of this sharing, that is how it has manifested. And therefore, please allow me. We go back to the 8th Avarna. Remember the one which only had one triangle? Excuse me. The one from where we get a glimpse of the supreme reality. The one which has the three gunas. Now, in the Sri Chakra worship, in the steps as we go, as we enter this 8th Avarna, before we call upon Mahakameshwari, Maha Bajreshwari, Maha Bhagamalini, as we will see now, before we call upon them, there are 4 divine energies that we prostrate to. What are they? This is in the 8th Avarna. And that is this. Banini. Baninyai Namaha. We will say Banini. Banini means the arrow. Where do we place this arrow? That is where it goes. For those of you who know this chakra by now, because there are only 3 energies, you will say, oh, that is the place of Maha Bhagamalini. Yes, we'll come to that. Banini is the arrow. The next one is Chapini. Remember, we are going clockwise in this. Still continuing the overall clockwise. Only when we call upon Mahakameshwari, Mahabhagamalini, we'll go counterclockwise. Chapini, the bow. And that is placed at that end. Let me first put out these 4 weapons, and as you meditate upon them, keep looking at them, drawing in the energies, we'll begin to explore the meaning of why at this stage has weapons come into play. Then comes Pashini, Pasha Ankushadhara, Pashini. For those of you who know, there are only 2 deities. It's Ganesha and his mother, Devi, who hold these. Pashini is a rope she holds in one hand, and that is placed on Kameshwari's place. And Ankushini, Ankushini. Ankushini is the goad, the weapon or the short spear through which they control the elephant. So Ankushini, they poke it in its sensitive area behind the ear, so it obeys, and unlike a horse, you cannot really strap an elephant, but this is the way it controls. Ankushini. Why weapons at this stage? Why not earlier? What role do they have at this place? Mind you, this is a very, very divine place to be, because we have come all the way across the 7 Avarnas, and we are about to enter the 8th Avarna to invoke Mahakameshwari. But before invoking Mahakameshwari, these weapons are invoked or acknowledged. Why here? What do they represent? Arrow represents the thought. A thought is like an arrow. A thought is very swift, right? The moment you think from here of some place which is 1,000 miles away, you're there in a fraction of a second. So poetically, it's compared to the flight of an arrow, the speed of thought. You can identify with a little bit of practice. You can take one thought at a time, analyze that thought, just like you take one arrow and fire it. And therefore, arrow is considered the thought, the creative thought, the one that begins the whole process of action, and then you get bound by that action, and another thought comes in, and so the whole series starts, right? Thought is the seed, the arrow. But the arrow by itself does not go anywhere. A thought by itself will not get you anything much other than just being a thought. That is why too much of sattva is as good as tamas, because just sitting at home and getting all these ideas of what to do can get you nowhere unless you take one step in doing it. So action comes. So what is it that provides action to the arrow? What is it that strings the arrow and sends it to its goal? In other words, makes the arrow act? It is the bow, Banini. So that is the rajas. The arrow by itself is nothing. It's pure sattva. It's purely an idea. The bow decides how fast the arrow should go, where the arrow should go, how swiftly, how powerfully it should go, and so on. The speed, the direction, everything is determined by the bow. So the bow is the rajas that provides action, energy to the arrow. Now, Pashini is the rope that slows down the impulses and the tendencies from which we act. Impulsively, you can send a bow, you can string an arrow to a bow and send it, and then regret. Why? Because an arrow, once it leaves the bow, you can't do anything about it. Much like the karmic reactions of our past is already in motion. We can't do anything about it. We have to just let it go. How much ever discourses I give to you, how much ever meditation I do, whatever I do, the karmic actions of what I have done in the past, good or bad, whatever it is, which has been released, that's called prarabdha, which has already been released, will find their fruition. Nobody can stop it. That is the arrow that has left the bow. But this divine consciousness here has that rope which helps us rather to slow the process of impulsively letting go of that arrow from the bow. It slows us down. It's like a lasso. The idea of a rope is a lasso. Put a rope and hold it back. Wait, slow down. Not so fast, not so fast. Because the bow is ready, the arrow is ready, and all you have to do is fire it. But then there is this rope that says, not so fast, slow down. Slow down. How slow? If it is too slow, then the bow never fires. So the fourth weapon that is there, all of these are divine energies and our own consciousness. So the fourth weapon says, okay, slow. Wait a minute, not so slow. Go ahead. And so the fourth weapon, the Ankushini, is the one that goads us to action. The rope prevents us from impulsive action, thus bringing about harmony, balance, thus making every action, giving us the opportunity for every action to become an offering to the higher self. This is the purpose of these four energies. We experience it every day, but we don't worship them. Have you ever worshipped your thought? Rather, given a chance, we complain, oh, too many thoughts, which is going here, this going there. These are all arrows coming from, who are these energies now? Let's see. So now Mahakameshwari is at the base of the triangle, where there is the Parshini and the Ankushini. Then you have Mahavajreshwari, the Mahalakshmi energy, the Rajasic energy, the bow. And then you have Mahabhagamalini, who has the arrow. What happens here is when we understand that this arrow, the source of our thoughts, come from Bhagamalini, we offer that arrow back to her. This is not for protection, unlike what we might be tempted to think. At this stage, the I itself is merging. So there is no question of protect me, the I needs protection, the arrow and the bow and the rope I need guidance, I need all of the spiritual progress. All that is over in the last 7 chakras. Here, I am surrendering all these weapons that were given to me and that were guiding me. These energies is what has guided me through all the 7 chakras. Without Mahabhagamalini's arrow, my mind won't be having the power to comprehend. That means sharp arrows, sharpness of the intellect and the mind and so on. We needed that. She gave us that. Plenty of those arrows. Without Mahavajreshwari, those arrows will not find their destiny, if you will. So we sit, we meditate, we do the puja, we understand it, we learn. That is all the bow sending out these arrows in the right direction. And then you have the rope and the goad. Not too fast, not too slow. So these are divine energies given to us by Mahabhagamalini, Mahavajreshwari, and Mahakameshwari for all aspects of our life, and especially so for our spiritual progress, and especially so in this journey into the Sri Chakra. In other words, when we go into ourselves, we need these. But at this point, at the 8th Avarna, before we call upon Mahavajreshwari, before we call upon let me go back. Before we call upon them, when we enter the 8th Avarna, we first surrender these bows. It is all about surrender now, no getting. So the 7th chakra, if you know what that was, the 7th Avarna was 8 steps. We learned how to do Sashtanga Namaskara, right? We lay prostrate. In other words, we surrendered everything to the divine. And as a continuation of that, as we enter, the 8th Avarna opens when you're completely surrendered. And then the 8th Avarna opens, you offer the arrow, you offer the bow, you offer the rope, you offer the goad. In this, you pray to them, you thank them for guiding us, and you offer it. Baninyai Namaha. You salute the arrow, the power that gave us to think. Chapinyai Namaha. You salute the bow, the ability to drive those arrows. All that is within us. You salute Parshini, the rope that held us back, prevented any impulsive action. And the Ankushini that helped us move forward in this path, guiding us gently, disciplining us where required. And therefore, this is a very stoic moment. And that is why I kept it for the last, because this is all about surrendering, surrendering, surrendering. And the 4 most important things that we surrender here, which is why I said there is no I after this. Because there is no thought. There is no bow to take that thought anywhere. There is no rope. There is no goad. So, Banini, Chapini, Parshini, Ankushini, they all merge back into their source, and therefore, and then we say Mahakameshwari. We meditate upon her. Because she is now risen. We are merging into her. She is risen. Mahavajreshwari is risen. Maha Bhagamalini is risen. All the three gunas now are in their pristine form. Pristine form. Sahaja Samadhi, Savikalpa Samadhi, Samprajnata Samadhi, as Patanjali calls it. Savikalpa, as Sri Ramakrishna calls it. Sahaja Samadhi. So all these are names that the experience happens here. The three gunas become very clean, pristine, back in its pristine nature, without arrow, without bow, because it all goes back to them. If there was an arrow, I started analyzing what is this, where it is going, and all of that. Now the arrow is gone. No thought, no bow, no pashini, no rope, no ankushini, no goad, nothing. Complete surrender. Think of this chakra. Meditate on this most important place. Because when we are able to do this in meditation, in prayer, through bhakti or whatever it is, this is all only can happen with grace. But nevertheless, when this happens, then from here, you get a glimpse of the bindu. You get a glimpse of the bindu. So we have 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And you get a glimpse. And that energy is called Maha Shri Sundari. There are different schools that call it different names. But I like this name. Maha Shri Sundari. You are getting a glimpse. You're not gone into the 9th Avarna. You're getting a glimpse. Because after this, you won't even exist. But at this point, you can see you're on the seashore, on the beach. You have seen the ocean. Like I said earlier in one class, the waves are crashing against your feet. Your feet feels the coolness of that water. There is a sense of thrill and excitement beyond comparison. All of that happens here. A way to understand this is, what do you mean by seeing and yet not experiencing, one would ask. Ocean is a good example. You taste a little bit. The salty air brushes across your cheeks and a little bit on your lips. You can almost taste the air, right? When you're on the beach. But you're not at the ocean. But you get all the feel of what that ocean is, how vast it is, how salty it is, and how humid the air is, and so on and so forth. That is one example. Another example that comes to my mind is you are sitting inside your living room and there's a huge picture window. The window becomes so clean that you see the snow falling outside, or the dewdrops, or the rainfall, whatever it is, however you want to imagine. It's almost as if you are in the snow. It's almost as if you are experiencing the little fresh, beautiful raindrops. So near, and all that separates you from that is this clear glass. That clear glass is that pristine nature of these three gunas. Mahakameshwari, Mahavajreshwari, Mahabhagamalini. When these three gunas reach back to that pristine state, then tada drishtuhu swarupe avasthanam. This is what Patanjali explains. It is all the same meaning. We'll explore Yoga Sutras later. But the meaning is the same. But at this point, this Mahasri Sundari is not different from the Bindu, but here you get to see a glimpse. That darshanam is papanashanam. That removes the eye. The biggest sin is the eye. Forget all the other sins. When I say sin, I mean, please take it with a pinch of salt. I'm not putting a moral spin on it. Separation was the original sin, they say, in the Law of Miracles. The Course of Miracles, if you will. What is the original sin? Separation. Separation from what? The I being separated or perceived to be separated from the divine self. Let's go back to the Bindu Maya. That sight is very powerful. So, when we see ourselves separate from Mahasri Sundari, rather than seeing that as our own reflection. That is where the whole problem starts. And then the rest of it is all compounded from that original problem of separation. But at this stage, when we offer Bhanini, Shapini, when we offer Pashini and Ankushini, then the glass becomes clear. The glass becomes clear because all the three actions, Rajas, Tamas, and Sattva, they all go back to that pristine state. And in that pristine state, when Mother Nature, Prakriti, Devi reveals her true self, you get to see that through that clear glass, you get to see the raindrops. Almost as if you're in the rain. Almost as if you're in the snow. And that is the beauty of this 8th Avarna. And then, of course, we go into the 9th Avarna. So I wanted to share this that we had not touched upon, because I wanted to first allow the idea of the three gunas to sink in, and then revisit this and allow how important are these weapons. These weapons are not for our protection at this point. It is not for getting something. It is not like the Devis, now she's getting out her weapons. Those are childish and one way to perceive it. But think of it. This Mahatripura Sundari, Mahabhattarika is not someone outside of you. It is your highest divinity, highest self. And therefore, all of these other Devis, they are Devis. Thought is an energy. It is a divine energy. It is a Devi. Whether we like it or not, believe it or not, it is a manifestation of a divine cosmic consciousness. And therefore, Bhanini, the arrow, is now being offered. So at this stage, when you go into the Bindu, there is really nothing to think about, because there is no you, there is no thought, there is no action, nothing, no desires. That is how naked we become, stripped of all the qualities as we enter into the 9th Avarna. That is why Sri Chakra meditation is very, quote unquote, when they say powerful, this is what they mean by powerful. Powerful because it reveals to you your highest potential. This is why they kept it secret, because once you understand this, then you have the entire universe at your fingertips. You can choose to be a king if you want to. You can choose to be a saint if you want to. You can choose to be a pauper if you want to. You can choose to be whatever you want to be, and be that. Because at that point, it will not be fear or greed or anxiety or ego or jealousy or any of that that will guide you. At that point, what will guide you will be the higher self, and the pure awareness of the higher self is what will guide you to do whatever you have to do. All right. So these are some of the energies that I want to touch upon, because we'll come across these in the Sri Chakra. And then we come back to the beginning now. Right in the very beginning of the Sri Chakra, we will start with Om, Aim, Hrim, Shrim. I will touch upon it tomorrow. Aim, Klim. So, Shri Tirupura Sundaryai Namaha. We first start with the divine name, the ultimate calling upon the name of the Divine Mother, who is all of this, and we offer salutations. That is the first name. Immediately after that, we are going to call upon the six divine energies. What are they? We performed this, we have gone through this in the previous classes, but here the energy is different. Here we are bowing to them. Hridaya Devi, right in the very beginning, even before the 15 Nitya Devis. We'll come across that summary in a bit. Don't get confused. Just go with the flow for now. Hridaya Devi, Hridaya Devi Namaha, Hridaya Devyai Namaha. We offer salutations to this Devi, opening our heart to this Devi, this energy. Devi means energy. Okay, like I said, a thought is an energy, therefore everything is an energy. Why are we offering to this? Let's finish this 6 and then I'll come back to this. Then Shiro Devi. Then we turn our focus to our head and we offer salutations to the Devi who's residing there. Our attention turns to the head and we offer salutations right in the very beginning. And then Shikha Devi, the crown, right here. We offer salutations to the Devi who's residing there, awakening her. Then Kavacha Devi. Kavacha Devi is protection and armor. An armor that comes around us, hugs us, if you will. Kavacha Devi. And then Netra Devi, the eyes, the 3 eyes, especially the 3rd eye. We focus, take our fingers like this in another ritual that will follow before this. But Netra Devi, Netra means eye. Why only Netra? Because we are talking of the 3rd eye, where both the eyes meet. And then comes Astra Devi. Astra means weapon, all around, the weapon all around protection. So we create a sound, either clap or these 2 fingers, we tap it on our palms like so. We create a sound. And that sound, vibration, clapping especially, is important. That's why in bhajans we clap. There is a power that is generated when we clap. It is not a fashion to just do this. But if you hear your own power, there is a clap that begins to clear. Like Baba would say, just like the crows from the tree are suddenly, you can clap your hands and make them fly away. Similarly, you can clear your mind of a lot of things by simply clapping. So rather than clapping here, you could clap as well, I guess. Or you could do this as well, snap your fingers. It's about a sound. So the 2 fingers to create a nice sharp sound is slapped against the thumb. We have talked about it earlier. So we make this sound. Okay. So that is for Astra. It's a weapon. It just clears the atmosphere because sound is one of the most powerful energies. So sound clears the atmosphere. Now, what does it mean here when we are entering the puja? There is a whole ritual we will do before that. But now I have started the Devi Khadgamala. After saying the first, this is the 2nd mantra, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th mantra. All of them come here. The first mantra being Nama Shri Tripura Sundariyai Nama. That one. After that comes these. Immediately follows. Why are we doing this? Look at the beauty here. Understand that when we bow to Hridaya Devi, the first one, we are opening a heart to feelings. In the ritual, we have to have feeling. In other words, bhava. The Sanskrit word is bhava. Bhava of feeling. Without that, the ritual will mean nothing and get you nowhere. You have to feel it in your heart. When you offer a flower, when you show an incense stick, when you light a lamp, there has to be a connection is established between you and the divine. So when you say Hridaya Devi, you are asking that energy in your heart to open the heart. So you begin to feel. We begin to feel. So heart is one side. What is opposite to the heart? The head. You know, we always have this conflict between the head and the heart. So then we also invoke Shiro Devi, the energy that lights up our head, our thinking, ability to think, ability to analyze, ability to understand, ability to comprehend what we are doing, not blindly doing. That is why we studied it over the last 59 classes or so. We have studied this word by word because we have to use our head. We have to open our heart, and there has to be a harmony between the head and the heart. Sometimes the heart feels more, sometimes the head. Some energies, some words might increase the head, it makes you think more. Some energies simply open your heart. So there is harmony, not balance. Balance means it has to be equal. All of these 6 energies are never in balance. They are not 6 equal energies. They are constantly in harmony. So they create a beautiful effect. So we invoke the Shiro Devi. We say, please, awaken, help me in this path, in this journey into the Sri Chakra. Then Shikha Devi, the crown. The crown is opening the door to the highest experience. The Bindu is experienced when Kameshwari from the Mooladhara eventually meets Kameshwara, who is here. The Jiva meets the Atma meets the Paramatma, the Jiva meets the Shiva. So in other words, Shakti and Shiva meet. So that experience, how will you know? How will that Bindu that we saw, Mahashri Sundari, that darshan, what an experience that would be to get the darshan of that divinity. How do you get that darshan? If the crown is not open, and therefore we invoke Shikha Devi, the Devi who will ultimately open that crown. Kavacha Devi, and armor. Armor we usually understand as protection. And to a certain extent that is right. But not protection from evil or protection from negativity and all of that. That is one of the most biggest, and please allow me to say this word, a mistake that we often tend to do. We always talk of cleansing the environment and cleaning the environment, negative energy. In this path, there is nothing negative. Everything is divine energy. Then you might say, wait, what am I protecting myself from? Why do I need the armor? The armor is to protect me from distractions. You know, when I'm going to work, I wear my suit, I wear my tie, I wear my shoes. And once I've dressed up and ready to go, that's it. Nothing can distract me from going to work. In my case, I wear my shorts, I wear my t-shirts for my yoga class. Once it's done, that's it. There is no distraction. The mind is set to go there. That is the armor. So when you wear the armor, you tend to get more focused, because that is what comes in the third eye, the next one. But that is what the armor is about. Armor protects you, and armor gives you a direction, kavacha. Makes it very clear what you're supposed to do at that point. If I wear dress for work, I have to go to work. That's my armor I have just worn. I can't wear my leather shoes and tie and well, it's been decades since I ever wore anything leather, but you know what I'm talking about. Formal shoes, tie and shirt and whatever. I wear all of that, and then I can't decide to play with my child. So the armor prepares you. Kavacha Devi. So we say, Kavacha Devi, come. Now you arm me and help me now completely. You're entering into this mindful practice of puja. Then comes Netra Devi. Netra Devi is the third eye. That is where, once you own this, you get a complete focus. The third eye has to open. The eye of intuition has to open. This whole journey of the Sri Chakra is an intuitive journey. Without intuition, nothing will happen. And therefore, Netra Devi, open that eye, the third eye of intuition. And Astra Devi, keep me protected so that I can work. Protected again from what? Again from any other distraction. I don't want to get distracted by anything else. And therefore, I make the sound, clearing all the distracting thoughts, my mind and everything. Okay, later. Breakfast and all of this later. Right now, Devi. So the Shadanga Devis come. And this is followed by the Nitya Devis and so on. See how beautifully the puja itself, the chakra, the Sri Chakra itself guides you gently and mindfully. What I want to do in the next few minutes is to summarize with you, and I know it'll sound very table-like when it is table-like. But it is a summary of all the deities that we have covered so far. Just to give you an idea, I think it is good to some extent, at least initially, it is good to be a little nerdy, a little bit of a bookworm, if you will. Because it helps us understand, learn, memorize, get the little things that become major problems later on, right? The little exercises. Okay, first chakra, how many deities? What is it? What is there? Second chakra, what is going on? Before I go to the first chakra, what are the deities? How many are they? What should I do? Who are they? That is a small hill. It might seem, oh, there's no bhava, there's no feeling. Just get it over with. Memorize them, know them by name, get it all over with. Then you begin to enjoy, right? So it is from that point of view I have to share that with you. You can pause these videos later on when you review it at any point, just so that you understand how many deities totally are there, how are they distributed in the Sri Chakra. So now we are going to summarize all of that. So we're going to talk about, before the Avarnas even begin, the Devi Khadgamala Stotra has begun. The Avarna will take time to enter. Before that, there are 42 deities that we call upon before entering the first Avarna. Believe it or not, we have done all the 42. Let's see what are those, some of them today. So the first one is Tripura Sundari. Let me wear my glasses so I can make sure I also get to see, because these fonts are very small. All right. So the first one is Tripura Sundari. That is the very first one we bow to the Supreme. So we set our eyes on the Supreme Bindu right in the very beginning. Then comes what we just studied, the 6 energies. Shat Anga. Anga means the 6 physical energies in the body. Shat means 6. Shatanga becomes Shadanga, 6 energies. So these are from 2 to 7 mantra, it will become 6. Then number 8 to 22, you have the Titi Nitya Devis, the 15 Devis representing the 15 cycles of the moon, waning and waxing. Right? We studied this a few classes ago. So this must be fresh in your mind as well. You might say, wait a minute, wasn't there 16? Yes, it was, but we'll put that separately, because that is Mahanitya. Mahanitya is another glimpse of the Bindu. So you're getting a Mahanitya glimpse, you're getting a Sri Sundari glimpse, and then of course you're getting a Sri Mahabhattarika glimpse, right? So Mahanitya is the 16th one, 16th phase. Somebody had asked me, so how do I practice the 16th phase? You cannot practice. You cannot practice this Mahanitya phase. At this point, you just have to offer the flower in the center and say Mahanitya. Whatever that means, the grace will give you that opportunity to experience that phase, because that is beyond the mind. How can you practice? So we leave that for now. Then comes the celestial gurus. Daiva. Daivoga gurus, right? Celestial beings. Parameshwara, Parameshwari, and so on. We studied that a couple of classes ago. Then we have the perfected beings, 4 of them. Celestial beings were 7. Perfected beings, we pay homage to them. Those are also the gurus. And we pay homage to them. We offer salutations to them. And then the human gurus, human beings. There are 8 of them. Now, I think I've mentioned this earlier too. If you are from another school of thought, or if you have been following another teacher, or if you're just doing research on the internet, you might find that when it comes to this Manava Guru, human beings, the list might vary. Because there are schools who even now, introduce their own gurus into this list. If they have a guru, if they wish to do that, they introduce that. And so I've seen the human being gurus list, bigger lists. There are shorter lists as well, and so on. But what we have studied is what I use and what is most popular and most, it covers all the gurus that were recorded in history for hundreds of years. If you do wish to add, it's up to you. But so far, it is 8. That is what we studied. So the total of these before entering the first Avarna is 42. So when you do homework, it'll really help you, as it did to me, if I take it and categorize it. Okay, I have to first study the first name I know. The second is the 6 energies. The third is the 15 phases of the moon. The fourth is easy again. That is just the 16th phase. For remembrance, for saying, I mean. Then comes the celestial beings. There are 7 of them. You can practice 1 each day, or 1 for 2 or 3 days till you remember those names. And then before you realize, suddenly, within a week, you will be able to tell all the 42 names. So categorize them and study them in categories. It will help you learn. Because then once you get over this little hill, like I said, then when you do the puja, you will not be searching for words. You will not know, I wonder what that meant, and you stop and pause. You will begin to enjoy the journey and the worship of this divine energy. Then comes the first Avarna. In Avarna, what happens? The first part of it it will seem, wow, insurmountable, because there are so many, right? That's 42 there. But don't be in a rush. Take it easy, take it slow. Learn each of these at your own time. The first wall, if you remember, the first wall is all about Anima, Siddhe, Lahima, Siddhe, and it goes all the Siddhis, the 10 Siddhis are there. So there are 10 of them. Memorize them and find out where exactly they come, and we will do that in the puja. Siddhis, is that a spelling mistake? Oh, deities, I'm sorry. Okay. Second wall, so pardon me, the deities are not spelled correctly. Just pardon me. It might repeat itself because I cut and paste those. Second wall is Netra Devis, 8 Devis. The 8 mothers, Vaishnavi, Varahi, and so on, Kaumari, okay, all of them. So they are the 8, ending with Mahalakshmi. So they are the 8, we studied them, and we continue to study them as part of the Bhairava energies as well. Then comes the third wall. The third wall is again 10. So 10, 8, 10. These are the 10 mudras. The 10 mudras that as you chant, you do these mudras. So you activate the energy of the mudras. That mudras, like I've told in another context, how mudras direct the flow of the prana. So when we do all the 10 mudras at the stage, chanting each mudra, those devis, the energy in those mudras begin to get activated. Okay, we'll touch upon this perhaps in the class tomorrow. The third wall. Then comes the Chakra Swamini. Every Avarna has a chakra. We touched upon this again a couple of classes ago. Here there is only one Chakra Swamini, Trailokya Mohana. And there is one Yogini, Prakata Yogini. So what is the total here? There are 30 here. 42 there. The first Avarna has 30 in total. 10, 8, 10, 1 and 1. Now, in some schools again, and I'm only pointing these out because so there's no confusion for you all. Trailokya Mohana Chakra Swamini Prakata Yogini. It will be considered, some schools join the Chakra Swami and the Yogini together as one name. But I have always understood them as separately and always chanted separately. And there are many schools who also chant them separately. I prefer the separate one. Swaminis are one, an energy, and Yoginis and another energy. It's easier for me to meditate. So there are 30 in the first Avarna. Once again, once you categorize it, it becomes easy. Now, after the first Avarna, it becomes easier because you don't have so many categories in each Avarna, right? Then comes the second Avarna. The second Avarna is what? Lotuses. So basically, you have to understand each Avarna. The first Avarna is walls. The second Avarna is lotuses. How many lotuses? 16 lotuses. What are these 16 lotuses? They are all the Akarshana Shaktis. Buddhya Akarshani, Sparsha Akarshani, Ahankara Akarshani. All Akarshana. Akarshana means powers of attraction. So all the Akarshana Shaktis, all the Akarshana Devis are there in the 16. So we learn how that. Then there is a Chakra Swamini for this Avarna, and she is Sarvasha Paripuraka Chakra Swamini. And then there is a Yogini, Gupta Yogini. So in category wise, it's simpler, but only thing you have to remember those 16 lotuses. And again, there also, once you know there are 5 Karmendriyas, 5 Jnanendriyas type, then you easily be able to categorize within those 16. I'll leave it to you all. If you go back and review those classes, you will be able to get it. So the total here in the second Avarna is 18. The third Avarna is again lotuses, but this time it is 8 lotuses. And these are Ananga Devi, Ananga Kusume, Ananga Meghale, Ananga Rekhe. Ananga Malini, and so on. So these are all the Ananga Devis. We talked about it in depth when we studied them, the 8 lotuses. The Chakra Swamini, Sarva Sankshobhana Chakra Swamini, and the Yogini is Guptatara Yogini. So the total here is what? 8, 9, 10. So the total is 10. So you have 18 in the second Avarna, 10 in the third Avarna, 30 in the first Avarna, 42 before the Avarnas. Keep totaling that, you will come to a total of 180. Then comes the fourth Avarna. I know it might be a little drab, but it is important that we go through it for your own revision later on. When you want to review it, it'll be useful. The fourth Avarna onwards, it's all triangles. The speed increases. The direction is more focused now. What is the first, the fourth Avarna? How many triangles? 14 triangles. We talked about the 14 worlds existing in the triangle, one above, one below, all of them. The 14 worlds. The Chakra Swamini is Sarva Saubhagya Dayaka Chakra Swamini. And the Yogini is Sampradaya Yogini. The total again is 16. The fourth Avarna. The fifth Avarna is again triangles, but these are called the outer 10 triangles and the inner 10 triangles. The sixth will be called the inner 10 triangles because they're inside the outer. So because they are 10 and 10, in order to distinguish them, it's easy. I had learned it the very first time and I've just stuck to it. I've never questioned that. It's called the outer 10 and the inner 10. All of these are Sarva Devis because they are Sarva Gnapte, Sarva it's all about Sarva. It's all expansion now. So outer triangles. Sarvartha Sadhaka Chakra Swamini and Kulottirna Yogini. She reminds you and points you to your highest destiny. So these are the fifth Avarna. So 10, 11, and so this becomes 12 here. So each Avarna, if you categorize like this and learn them, it becomes very easy. You don't have to memorize it right away. But once you understand it, then when you start chanting with this understanding, it becomes clearer. Otherwise, you'll get completely lost. When you hear the word Sarva, then you'll say, okay, this must be from the outer chakras or the inner chakras. Outer 10 or the inner 10 triangles. If you hear about the worlds and all of those energies, then you'll know it is a 14 triangles. And thus it goes. So the sixth Avarna, like I said, is the inner triangles. These are also Sarva Shaktis. All about Sarva. Sarva means all of this, all of that. Okay. Sarva Ishwaryam and so on. So Chakra Swamini, Sarva Rakshakara, protection. And Yoginis, Nigarbha Yogini. We talked about Chakra Swaminis and Yoginis a couple of classes before. The total here is 12. The seventh are also triangles, but this time we did 14, 10 and 10. And now this triangle is 8. Remember the Ashtanga Namaskara. So triangles, 8. Chakra Swamini, Sarva Rogahara Chakra Swamini, Rahasya Yogini. And so 8, 9 and 10. In this there are 10 deities. 7th Avarna, there are 10 deities. The 8th Avarna, how many are there? You might say, oh, wait a minute, 8th Avarna. We just did it, right? A few minutes ago. So 8th Avarna is just one triangle. But before we enter the 8th Avarna, at the entry, we have to lay down weapons, the 4 weapons. Banini, Chapini, Pashini, Ankushini. This is where you lay them down. So when you chant them, you're offering it. Salute them. Be very grateful that they were given to you. Now you offer it. Triangle corners are the 3 gunas. Mahakameshwari, Mahavajreshwari, Mahabhagamali. The tamas, the rajas and the sattva. Then Chakra Swamini. Sarva Siddhi Prada. You attain perfection. You become a Siddha at this point. Sarva Siddhi Prada. And Ati Rahasya Yogini. She grants you the supreme secret. So here the total number of deities in this chakra for our learning and practice purposes are 9. And the last one is the 9th Avarna. 9th Avarna, there is only the Bindu. There's only one deity. And what is the shape? It is a dot. Bindu means dot. So there, who is there? Shri Mahabhattarika. There is only deity. Only one. Ultimately, it's one. The Chakra Swamini there is an Anandamaya Chakra Swamini. And the Yogini there is Parapara Rahasya Yogini. So that is where you are completely now become the Bindu. Now in the Sri Chakra worship, once we do this, once you are at the Bindu, because at this point, 9th Avarna, we are doing it out of pure imagination and feeling. And that's how it should be. So when we are at the Bindu, what happens? We have come into the very center of our very self, the very core, the inner sanctum sanctorum of our self. We are face to face with our own higher self. What do we do there? Then comes what after. But before that, the total here, of course, is 3. Okay, so then there is still one more table. So in the 9th Avarna, what do? We begin first what is called a series of contemplations. Tripureshye, from Tripureshye to Tripurambikayai, you're the mother of all the three cities, because you've just crossed the 3 gunas. So you're all of that. That contemplation becomes real. That this one dot is what has created the gunas in the entire universe from that. And therefore there is contemplation at that point. And how many of those chants? There are 9 of those Devis. Then comes deep meditation. Then you begin to praise her. Maha, Maha, Maha Maheshwarye, Maha, Maha Samragne, Maha, Maha. And then you go on doing that. We covered that recently. That is deep meditation. Each one takes you deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. Another 9 such beautiful chants. And finally you say Namaste, 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 Namaha. Prostrations, prostrations, prostrations. What else can we say at that point? The last one is not a Devi per se. That's why I didn't put a number there, because it is infinite prostrations. You can't say one. And it is not a Devi. The last chant is not included in the number of energies technically, because it's not a Devi you're invoking. At that point, you're just saying, I'm Krim Shrim, I'm Klim Saum, Namaste, 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 Namaha. Just prostrations, 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 completely merging. And therefore you have 18 here. 9 and 9 is 18. The last one, prostrations, is not necessarily included. You can if you want to, but those are just number games. So the total of all of this comes to 180. So, my dear sisters and brothers, with this we have covered or taken the first step in understanding the entire Sri Chakra. And all of this is entirely possible because of her blessings, your love, and nothing but divine grace. Tomorrow and perhaps the day after, I don't know how it will go, I want to now go into explaining the actual ritual. What is it that we are going to do? Because I know there is a dearth of this kind of information, and I'm hoping to make that very clear. Okay, so now we have a Sri Chakra with us. How do we do this? What is it that we chant before? We know these mantras are there, but what is the procedure? How do we go about doing it? So I'm hoping to cover it in one class tomorrow, thus making it 60. It might be much longer than we thought, but I think it would be a grand finale to this journey. And after that, explaining the procedure step by step, not necessarily going through all the 180 names, no, but what is it that we do before we come to the 180 names? Even before we go to the Shadanga Devis and all, what do we do? Ganesha, then we call upon the Guru, then we do the Karanyasa, Anganyasa, okay? Then we chant the mantra's name, the Rishi's name, and so on. We have touched upon it in the very beginning classes. But I want to now concentrate at the puja, when you're seated there, how do we go about doing it? So Maya and I will try and figure out how to make it visually very clear. I would like to keep that as one class because that explains it. But there are certain slokas that we are going to chant which might need explanation, but I'll give a summary explanation. I won't do word by word like I did today, to save time and also to give you an idea. And then we will do the actual pujas. Now, before we go there, I think, man, can we go back to the slide? There is one more I just want to touch upon. I think I have that slide ready for today. And that is this. Options to practice and learning. So if you bear with me for 5 more minutes, let me explain this so that tomorrow we can focus on the steps of the puja. There are many options to practicing this. What is that? First one is you take one Avarna at a time, the first Avarna. That itself has got 42 before we enter the Avarna and then 30 in the Avarna. So that itself is 72 names that you have to memorize and know who comes where in the... It's relatively easy. Once you do it 3 or 4 times, it becomes easy. Trust me, right? But you do it. So there is one option that you do one Avarna at a time till you have understood that Avarna. You can do that one every day. You can do once every week, once every month, however you want to do it. But just do that one Avarna. So I will do a puja where you can just do one Avarna at a time. We are going to do many pujas. Puja 1 will have one Avarna, complete puja. The second one will have the first and the second Avarna. The third will have first, second and third puja. So I'll make 9 pujas for you. And so you can choose which one you want to do. So you never feel incomplete. You can't just start a puja and say one Avarna and how do I get out of it, right? So we will complete that puja. So one Avarna at a time till you understand it perfectly. Then you progress to 1. So you can take 1 month at a time and one Avarna if you want to. It's up to you. That's one option, right? The other option is one Avarna each day for 9 days at a stretch. Every month you say, during the waxing phase and on Amavasya, on the new moon, I will start with the first Avarna. The second day, I will do the first and the second Avarna. Like I said, all these pujas will be there. You just have to chant along or watch along. And then you get to do 9 Avarnas. You complete on the 9th day, you will complete all the 9 Avarnas in the waxing phase. Then you take a break for a week or so till the full moon. And then on the waning phase, again, you can do 1 Avarna per day. This could be your second stage. Once you understand each Avarna, then you can begin to do this. Take a couple of years to do this, my dear brothers, sisters. Don't be in a rush. We somehow feel we have to finish it fast. Why is it taking time? These things just don't happen at speed. The speed is of no consequence here. It is the amount of joy you're deriving from doing it. And the amount of mindfulness. My chants and my pujas will be slow. That is how it's meant to be. That is how I practice. There is no way I can give you a shorter form and an easier form. Because each word has powerful energy. You have to take up, even if it's 5 seconds longer, but each word has to be meditated upon, contemplated upon. So take each word, each deity, each Avarna, which absolute importance. It doesn't mean because you go to the 9th, you're progressing more and you're stuck in the first. There is no such thing. Every gate has the potential because it's the same Devi in different from. Any of these Devis can take you directly to where you want to be. This is an act of grace, can never be explained. So the second one is 1 Avarna each day from the new moon till the 9th day of the waxing and from the full moon to the 9th day or the 8th day of the waning. Okay. And the last one, of course, you do the full puja because the 9th puja will be all the 9 Avarnas together, right? Each puja is a build-up of the previous one. The first puja will be Avarna 1. Second puja will be Avarna 1 and 2. Third puja will be Avarna 1, 2, 3 and thus and so on. So the 9th puja will be all the 9 Avarnas. Just complete puja. Now, once you are confident, you can choose to do the complete puja once every week. Maybe once every Ashtami or the 8th night, twice a month. You determine that. Be bi-monthly or even daily if you want to, if you have the time and if you have the desire to do that. So you can do push. So there are many options like this. You can start with something which is simple. And then you can simply even say, before I even get to this, first let me memorize, let me get more clearer. I should be able to know at least which are the categories, each Avarna, what all falls in, like we just explained. Then next stage, let me take the first Avarna, what are that? Memorize it, try and playfully, try and have a partner with you, your child or your spouse or a friend or a WhatsApp and say, okay, let's take 1 week and memorize all these Devis and let's come back and compare. So just for the fun of it, it's beautiful. If it's a game, it's a fun game. It's a powerful game. It's a beautiful game. Then you get into the Avarna. Now it's no longer a game. Now you begin to practice the opening of the heart chakra and so on. So this is how, I'm glad I finished this slide, because the next one will be the steps in the puja. We will take that up tomorrow. So this is how this sadhana is. This is how this practice is. It's one thing is being philosophical about it, understanding and knowing it. And it is a completely different thing, taking all that and putting into practice. When you start putting into practice, that is where the metal meets the road. Is that what the quote is? Something like that, right? The tire meets the road or something. That's when you really begin to, oh my God, this is taking too long. Oh gosh, do I have to do it every day? Oh my God, every week. That's when the real sadhana, it's not easy. But if you have love for self-realization, if you are yearning for a glimpse of the supreme, divine, most beautiful phenomenon on the earth, then this path is the royal path. Thank you all for your support, for allowing me to share my thoughts. We still have one more day to go, or maybe two, I don't know. Let the divine guide us. Let us end this satsang with once again a meditative chant on this divine principle. Sri Lalita.
Trinetra Arunima Vasana Ratnatatankaramya Hastambhojai Sapashankusha Madanadhanusayakai Vispuranti Apino Tungabakshoruha Kalashalutattara Haro Jvalangi Dhyaye Amboruhasta Arunima Vasana Ishwari Ishwarana Ishwari Ishwarana Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu Samastalokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Jai Bolo Pavan Sutta Hanuman Ki Jai, Siyavar Ramchandra Ki Jai, Satguru Sainath Maharaj Ki Jai. Namah Parvati Pataye Hara Hara Mahadev. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.